when my brother and I were both in college. We shared a 2-bedroom cottage. This place was so dilapidated that if you took a marble and put it on the kitchen floor at this end, the marble would just roll to the other end. And if you wanted to open the door or close any of the doors, you had to kick it. But it was $120 a month, utilities all included, and we called it home. We had a couple of dogs, too, at this time, which was a sign that this place was so dilapidated we allowed dogs. A Brittany Spaniel named Belle, a very high-spirited dog, and a very mellow Australian Shepherd, but a small one, like a mini Australian Shepherd named Ruth. And my brother took these 2 dogs with him mushroom hunting. Now you might think, mushroom hunting, that is a recipe for painful death. But my brother was a great scientific person, and he had big stacks of books with all of the lists of mushrooms, and we did spore prints. We did not eat anything unless we knew exactly what it was, 100%, and that it was edible. And one of the mushrooms that we ate the most, and were very plentiful in the woods in Nebraska, were morels. Does anybody know what a morel is?
The little brown mushroom?
Yes, some of them are quite large. So we had morels that were as large as a beer can.
Oh, really?
And they're kind of long, a little bit elongated, and they have a spongy-like surface on them. And oh my God, they're good! They're so flavorful. And we brought bushels of these home. Well, we can't eat bushels of mushrooms just like they are. So we strung them on long lines, and our whole apartment was filled with drying morels, which smelled wonderful. And it was really handy to have these because we were on a microscopic budget as students. And our food was, we bought bulk flour, different kinds of things that were very inexpensive and plain. But with these morels, you really had gourmet fare. Now, as the end of December, this particular year, as it approached, we didn't have very much food in the house because we got our checks in on the first of the month, so toward the end of the month there wouldn't have been that much food left anyway. But we were really cutting it to the bone because we had a trip planned to go home to see our folks about 400 miles away. And we planned on stocking up on our mother's cooking and bringing a lot of leftovers home with us. And so we really didn't have much left in the house for food. But it didn't matter because we had the spirit of Christmas. I walked around the apartment singing, "I'll be home for Christmas. You can count on me." And it drove my brother crazy, of course, because I'm not that great of a singer. But it didn't matter. We were excited. We were going to go home. We were going to get out of this little dinky place and go home where we could have some real comfort and family and anything. And then the storm came. You talk about what's different in the Midwest. First, it was rain. Freezing rain. So, nasty kind of rain because rain right at the wrong temperature, everything gets coated with ice. All the trees get coated with ice. The branches get heavy. The branches break. All the electrical wires get coated with ice. When they get heavy enough, they break, or a branch pulls them down. Well, the power was out all over the eastern half of the state. And our furnace did not work if there wasn't electricity. Then it started to snow. Blizzard. So you had ice, and now it's covered with snow. You can't see anything. The ice is on the road, the ice is everywhere, and we didn't have any power. So we weren't going anywhere. In fact, we couldn't have gone anywhere. We couldn't even have tried because the roads weren't plowed. It was just an incredible storm. We had gas stove, and we kept the burners on in the oven. Not really safe, I don't recommend it, or they don't recommend it, but it did keep the edge off of the cold in the apartment. And we had a hot gas water heater, so we kept the sink and the bathtub filled with the hottest water, and that kind of helped too. And we kept all bundled up. We had layers of clothes. We had our carpets and our hat and our scarves, and it was sometimes below zero outside, but we managed to get along okay. Now, the food problem was kind of an issue, and this was before they came in with the Red Cross and all kinds of food. That hadn't even been invented. Nebraskans don't take food, charity or help. They're supposed to do it on their own. And we had a grocery store that was just a block away, but it was closed because of the storm and because there wasn't any power, and so the store wasn't open. And we had a few cans of stuff in the larder. We had flour, we had some yeast, we had an extensive spice cabinet. We had all of these morels. We made soup, we made bread, we had some food. It wasn't great, but we had some food. But it looked like our Christmas dinner was going to be a little bleak. Christmas morning arrived, and it was one of those below zero days. And I thought, oh, wow, this is going to be the worst Christmas ever. My brother came out of his bedroom, and he had dirty rat. He had been hoarding some food. He had an onion, he had a can of tomato sauce, and he had some spaghetti. Now maybe this isn't the most exciting thing for Christmas dinner, but he started cooking pretty early that day. The sauce smelled wonderful. We put the morels in. Oh, fabulous. Cooked the spaghetti. The meal was ready. My brother dished it out. You know how spaghetti can be kind of slick. This dog walked right in front of me just as I was going to the table, and although the plate stayed in my hand, the spaghetti went My Christmas dinner was on the floor. The dogs were eating it. They didn't even care if it was too hot. My brother looked down at the dogs. He looked at my empty plate. He said, I'm not sharing mine with you. Are you crazy? But he took my plate. He put half of his food on my plate. Carefully carried it to the table himself. He said, sit, to me. But of course the dog sat too. That spaghetti, so delicious, the sauce, so rich. I can still remember it all these years later. And I think the meaning of this season that we're in, to refer to that, the meaning of this season is about the memories that we keep. And you can be home for Christmas, if only